She looks right through you. That's the truth you refuse to confront. It's not that she doesn't like you. It's not that you're in the friend zone. Those are comfortable lies you tell yourself to soften the brutal reality of your position. The reality is far more terrifying. In the landscape of her emotional world, you are invisible. A ghost. A whisper of potential she never bothers to hear. She didn't reject you. To reject something, you must first consider it an option. You were never an option. You were simply there. A fixed point in her orbit, as predictable and as uninspiring as a piece of furniture. You've played by the rules, haven't you? You were kind. You were available. You listened to her endless stories about other men. Men who excited her, men who disappointed her, men who made her feel something, anything. You were the safe harbor, the emotional utility, the one she called when her real battles were over, seeking a moment of sterile comfort before she sailed back out into the storm. And you, in your tragic devotion, believed this was progress. You mistook her use of you for a need for you. You saw her reliance on your stability as a sign of budding affection. But a lighthouse is not the ship's destination. It is merely a tool the ship uses to navigate its way to a more exciting shore. Think back to that last time you saw her, in that crowded room, with the low hum of conversation and the clinking of glasses. You saw her walk in, and your entire nervous system went on high alert. Your heart hammered against your ribs, a frantic prisoner demanding release. You rehearsed your opening line a dozen times in your mind, each version more pathetic than the last. You finally approached, a drink in your hand for her, a foolish, hopeful offering. She smiled. But it wasn't a smile for you. It was a polite, automatic reflex, the kind one gives to a waiter or a doorman. Her eyes were already scanning the room over your shoulder, searching for someone who mattered. Someone who could alter her emotional state. And then she saw him. A man who wasn't trying, a man who stood with a casual indifference that you could never fake. Her entire being shifted. Her smile became genuine, her focus locked, and you were left standing there, an obstacle in her path to him, holding a drink she would never accept. She didn't even say goodbye. She simply moved past you, as if you were a column in the architecture of the room. In that moment, you were not a man. You were an inanimate object. You have been operating under a fundamentally flawed premise. You believe that desire can be negotiated, that if you provide enough logic, enough support, enough niceness, you can convince her will to want you. You are trying to reason with a hurricane. As the great philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer articulated, the will is a blind, ceaseless, and primal force. It does not respond to pleas or petitions. It responds to power. It responds to objects that spark its insatiable hunger. Schopenhauer warned that a man can do what he wants, but not want what he wants. Her will is not a democratic committee you can appeal to. It is a ruthless dictator, and it has already declared you irrelevant to its agenda. Your pleading, your constant availability, your desperate attempts to prove your worth, these actions do not signal value. They signal desperation. Desperation is the absolute antithesis of attraction, so you stand in the wreckage of your own strategy, a monument to failed tactics. You gave her everything she could ever ask for in a stable partner, and in return, she gave your attention to men who offered her nothing but emotional chaos. You have become a paradox, the perfect man who is perfectly undesirable. And the most painful part is the question that now burns in the back of your mind, the one you are too terrified to ask aloud. Is this all I am? Is this my permanent, unchangeable fate? To be the reliable, forgotten man who watches from the sidelines as the world of passion and desire. This is the cold, dark prison you have built for yourself, brick by brick, with every accommodating text, every canceled plan you accepted without protest, every time you placed her needs so far above your own that you ceased to have any. Before we deconstruct this psychological prison and hand you the keys to your own liberation, you must first commit to the new regime. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion, activate all notifications so you never miss a strategic briefing, and press the like button to signal that you are ready to stop being a pawn and start commanding the board. And in the comments below, I want you to tell us where you're watching from. Let us know what city, What country is ready to learn the art of emotional warfare? Share with us, if you dare, a single moment where you felt your power slip away. A moment like the one we just described. We are building an army of minds here, and every soldier's story is a lesson in strategy. Now, let's address the core of your failure. You thought the game was about addition, adding more affection, more support, more of you. You were wrong. The real game, the one played by men who command respect and ignite desire, is about subtraction. It's about what you withhold. It's about creating a void that only you can fill, a mystery that she becomes obsessed with solving. You have been flooding her with your presence, leaving no room for her to wonder, to question, to want. You've made yourself so abundant that your value has plummeted to zero. The law of emotional economics is as ruthless as any market. Scarcity creates value. Your constant presence has made you emotionally worthless. The man she turned to in that room, the one who effortlessly captured her attention. What did he possess that you did not? It wasn't better looks, more money, or a superior intellect. It was an aura of self-possession. His emotional state was not contingent on her approval. He was the sun, and she, like a planet, was drawn into his orbit. You, on the other hand, were a desperate moon, trying to reflect her light back at her, having no light of your own. This is the fundamental power dynamic you have failed to grasp. In any interpersonal relationship, the one who is less emotionally invested holds the power. The one who sets the emotional tempo controls the entire interaction. You have been dancing to her rhythm, reacting to her moods, her whims, her schedule. From this moment forward, you will become the composer. We are not here to teach you cheap tricks or pickup lines. Those are the weapons of amateurs. We are here to rewire your entire psychological operating system. We will arm you with the principles of emotional leverage, teaching you how to transform your neediness into an unbreakable frame of self-worth. You will learn to use distance not as a punishment, but as a tool. You will master the art of calculated absence, making your return an event she anticipates with feverish intensity. You will understand that true power is not about controlling her. It is about demonstrating such absolute control over yourself that she cannot help but be drawn to your strength. The question that hangs in the air is not whether you can win her back. That goal is too small, too pathetic. The real question is, can you dismantle the weak, predictable man you have become and rebuild yourself into a force of nature so compelling that she is forced to question why she ever overlooked you in the first place? What if the path to being seen wasn't to plead for her attention, but to build an empire of your own so vast and impressive that she has no choice but to take notice? What if the key wasn't to be in her world, but to make her desperately want to be in yours? Let's perform a cold deconstruction of your downfall. Your loss of authority was not a singular cataclysmic event. It was a war of attrition, lost not on a grand battlefield, but in 1,000 silent, unacknowledged skirmishes in the living room, over text messages, and in the space between heartbeats. This was a slow, insidious erosion of your power, and you were a willing participant in your own demise. You didn't fall from a cliff. You meticulously dug your own grave, one conciliatory spoonful at a time. The process has distinct, predictable phases, and as I outline them, you will recognize your own reflection in this grim portrait of surrender. The first phase is emotional concession. It begins innocently enough. She wants to change dinner plans at the last minute, plans you made a week ago. You, wanting to be the easygoing guy, immediately agree. You tell yourself it's no big deal. But it is. It is the first test. She has just asserted that her whims are more important than your time, your structure, and your word. And you, by agreeing without a moment's hesitation, validated her assertion. Tested. You yielded. She won. This happens again when she is in a bad mood and takes it out on you with a sharp tone or passive aggression. Instead of creating distance and allowing her to manage her own emotional state, you rush in to fix it. You ask, "What's wrong? What did I do?" You absorb her negativity, making it your problem to solve. You have just conceded your own emotional sovereignty. You have communicated that your peace is contingent on her mood. You are no longer the steady lighthouse. You are a small boat being tossed on the waves of her emotional sea. Every time you abandoned your own preference, your own opinion, your own plans to accommodate hers without reciprocity, you gave away a piece of your territory. You thought you were buying peace. In reality, you were funding your own occupation. From there, you descend into the second phase, the loss of control, which manifests as a desperate search for validation. Having conceded your emotional independence, you now need her constant approval to feel stable. This is where your questions change. They are no longer about logistics or shared experiences. They are pleas for reassurance. Did you have a good time tonight? Are we okay? You seem distant. Is everything all right? You are no longer a partner in the interaction. You are an applicant, awaiting your performance review. Her silence becomes your tormentor. A text message left on read for an hour sends you into a spiral of anxiety. You replay every recent conversation, searching for the mistake you must have made. Her silence is dominance, not disinterest. It is a calculated tool. She knows that by withholding her validation, she can make you work for it. And you do. You double text. You offer to do favors. You post things on social media you hope she will see and react to. You have lost control of your inner state and handed her the remote. At work, this is the man who apologizes when someone else bumps into him. In a friendship, it's the one who is always available, but whose calls are never returned with the same urgency. You have become a background character in your own life, waiting for the protagonist to give you a line. This leads directly to the third, and most pathetic phase, affective dependency. At this stage, your self-worth is completely outsourced. Her smile is your success. Her frown is your failure. Your entire day can be made or ruined by the tone of her voice in a 30-second phone call. You have no mission, no purpose, no driving force outside of her. If you go to the gym, it is with the faint hope that she will notice the results. If you achieve something at work, the accomplishment feels hollow until you have told her about it, hoping for her praise. You have made her the sun in your universe, and you have forgotten that you are supposed to be your own star. This dependency makes you predictable, and predictability is the mother of contempt. She knows exactly how you will react to any given situation. If she wants attention, she will be warm and affectionate. If she wants space, she will be cold and distant, knowing you are too afraid of losing her to call her out on the emotional manipulation. You have become an emotional utility, a reliable appliance she can use at her convenience. And like any appliance, you are taken for granted. You are useful, but you inspire no passion, no excitement, no respect. The final phase is the breaking of the silence, which is your formal, unconditional surrender. The tension has become unbearable for you. The distance she has created is a void you can no longer tolerate. So you initiate the talk. Sit her down, your heart pounding with a mixture of fear and a desperate hope, and you lay your cards on the table. You tell her how much you care. You list all the things you do for her. You ask her what you can do to make things better. You are, in essence, begging. You are asking your conqueror for better terms of surrender. In that moment, you reveal the entirety of your weakness. You show her that you cannot withstand emotional pressure, that her withdrawal is your kryptonite. You have given her the complete blueprint to your psychological operating system, and it is a blueprint for a slave, not a king. Often, this culminates in an apology. You apologize for being too needy, for pressuring her, for things you didn't even do. You are so desperate to restore the previous comfortable state of servitude that you will accept all blame. When you apologized, you signed your surrender. You handed her the pen and the treaty, and she signed it with a smile of pity. She tested you, and you failed. Now, I know the objections are already forming in your mind. But isn't communication important in a relationship? Aren't I supposed to be vulnerable and open? You have confused communication with supplication. Communicating your standards, your boundaries, and your vision from a position of strength is leadership. Vomiting your insecurities and anxieties at her feet and begging for her to fix them is abdication. Vulnerability without a foundation of unshakable self-worth is not bravery. It is a desperate plea for pity. And pity is the poison that masquerades as affection. I was just being a nice guy. Society tells us to be accommodating, to be sensitive, This is the most dangerous lie you have been sold. Niceness that comes from a place of fear, fear of conflict, fear of loneliness, fear of her leaving, is not a virtue. It is a survival tactic. True strength, true kindness, comes from a place of abundance. It is a choice, not a necessity. You are not choosing to be kind. You were compelled by your fear to be compliant. And she, on a primal, intuitive level, recognized the stench of that fear and was repulsed by it. If this cold diagnosis is making you uncomfortable, if you feel a pit in your stomach as you recognize your own behavior in this autopsy of power, then it means you are still alive enough to fight back. This is the moment you stop being a patient and start becoming a physician of your own psychology. To do that, you must commit to this new doctrine. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion, activate all notifications to ensure you receive every strategic command, and press the like button as a declaration of war against the weakness that has held you captive. And in the comments, answer this one question with brutal honesty. What was the last test you failed? What was the last boundary you let her cross because you were afraid of the silence that would follow? Acknowledging the specific battle you lost is the first step to winning the war. The most terrifying aspect of this entire process is that it is invisible to the outside world. No arguments, no shouting matches, no dramatic breakups. Your fall from power happened in the silence. It happened in the yes you said when you meant no. It happened in the text you sent when you should have maintained your distance. It happened in the hesitation before you stated an opinion that might have contradicted hers. You were not defeated by her strength. You were defeated by your own lack of it. You have been navigating a complex psychological battlefield with a map drawn by people who want you to lose. They told you to be selfless, but they didn't tell you that a man with no self is a man with no value. They told you to be open, but they didn't tell you that mystery is the engine of desire. They told you to be accommodating, but they didn't tell you that a man with no boundaries is a man with no respect. You are standing in the ruins of a strategy that was designed to fail, and you must accept a chilling, liberating truth. No one is coming to save you. Your salvation is not in her hands, it is in yours. There is no going back for the weak man. There is only the construction of the new. Let that sentence burn itself into your consciousness, because it is the foundational law of this new reality. The man who was invisible, the man who was used as an emotional utility, the man who pleaded and accommodated his way into oblivion, that man must die, not metaphorically. He must be executed in the cold chambers of your mind, his pathetic strategies and hopeful delusions buried in an unmarked grave. You are not here to repair a broken machine. You are here to melt it down and forge a weapon. This process is not emotional. It is not about healing, finding closure, or understanding your feelings. That is the language of the therapy couch, the dialect of the defeated. This is a tactical reconstruction. It is about power, leverage, and the cold, hard mechanics of interpersonal dominance. Your first command is this: cut the excess. Immediately. This means you sever all non-essential contact. You do not announce your departure. You do not write a long, explanatory text message. You do not give a final, heartfelt speech. To explain yourself is to ask for permission. To justify your actions is to seek her approval for your own freedom. You will do neither. You will simply vanish from her life. Your constant availability was the currency of your weakness. By creating an absolute and sudden scarcity, you detonate the foundation of her perception of you. She has grown accustomed to your presence as a constant, like the air or the background noise of the city. When it is suddenly gone, the silence will be deafening. She will not miss you at first. She will miss the service you provided. The validation, the attention, the reliable ego boost on demand. By cutting the supply, you force her to confront the void. This is the first shock to her system, the initial move in a campaign of psychological disruption. You are no longer the predictable orbit. You are the collapsed star, and the sudden change in gravity will pull at the edges of her world. Your second command: install the silence. After you have cut the excess, she will inevitably reach out. This is a certainty. It may be a casual, "Hey, how are you?" text, It might be a meme, a question about something only you would know, or a feigned concern for your well-being. These are not genuine attempts at connection. They are probes. They are tests. She is pinging your location, checking to see if the appliance is still plugged in, ready to be used. Your response to these probes is the most critical battle you will face. Your response is absolute, weaponized silence. Do not answer. Do not open the message and leave it on read. Archive it. Delete it. Let it float into the digital ether, an unanswered summons. Every moment you remain silent, the power dynamic shifts infinitesimally in your favor. Her casual probe, met with a wall of indifference, turns into a question in her mind. Why isn't he answering? Her certainty of you begins to crack. Her control over your emotional state is challenged for the first time. Silence is not passive. It is an active statement of dominance. It says, "Your attempts to access me are denied. My attention is no longer a public utility. It is a resource I control, and you do not currently have the security clearance to access it. Do not reconquer. Replace with a sharper silence." Her mind will race to fill that void with reasons, and for the first time, those reasons will revolve around you and your unknown status, not her and her immediate needs. Third command, control the reaction. This command is not for her. It is for you. During this period of withdrawal and silence, your old programming will scream for you to relapse. The addiction to her validation will create a phantom itch. You will be tempted to check her social media. You will craft a dozen different casual messages to send her. You will feel an intense urge to break the silence just to relieve the pressure that you are feeling. This is the weak man fighting for his life. You must crush him. You must control your own reactions with iron discipline. This is where the real work is done. The silence you are imposing on her is meaningless if you are in a state of internal chaos. Your mission now is to redirect every single watt of emotional and mental energy you are pouring into her and channel it back into yourself. This is the construction phase. Your focus becomes singular, building your own empire of value, entirely independent of her or any other woman. This empire has 4 pillars. First, the physical. You will transform your body, not for her, but as a testament to your own discipline. The gym becomes your temple, every repetition a prayer to the god of self-mastery. You control what you eat, how you train, how you sleep. Your body is the one thing you have absolute dominion over. Make it a symbol of that power. Second, the financial. You will become relentless in your pursuit of resources and status. Your career, your business, your investments, this is your war front. Money is a tool, but more importantly, it is a quantifiable measure of your impact on the world. It buys you freedom, options, and power. Third, the social. You will cultivate a network of powerful allies. You will be seen in the right places, with the right people. You will learn the art of conversation, not to please, but to assess, influence, and build connections that serve your mission. Your social value is not determined by one woman's approval, but by the respect you command in a room full of men. Fourth, the symbolic. You will acquire skills and knowledge that make you dangerous. Learn a new language, master an instrument, study strategy, become an expert in a field that commands respect. You are building a mind that is as formidable as your body. The great philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "A man can do what he wants, but not want what he wants." You tried to appeal to her will, to make her want you. It was a fool's errand. Her will is a primal force that desires strength, competence, and power. By building this 4-pillared empire, you are not trying to convince her of your value. You are becoming the objective embodiment of value itself. You are transforming yourself into an object that her will cannot help but desire. This is not a hope. It is a plan. The transformation is the strategy. Your success is the weapon. A man who wants to be loved will be discarded. A man who imposes his presence will be feared. And that fear, when mixed with admiration, is a far more potent and lasting form of attraction than the fleeting affection you once begged for. You are ready to stop being a predictable variable and start becoming an unsolvable, compelling equation? Then subscribe to Psychological Dominion, activate all notifications so you never miss a directive, and hit the like button to signal your commitment to this new order. Now, for the strategists watching, I have a critical question for the comments. Which of the 4 pillars of your own empire, physical, financial, social, or symbolic, have you neglected the most? And what is the very first tactical step you will take this week to reinforce it? Your answer is a public contract with yourself. When and if you choose to re-engage with her, it will be on your terms, from a position of overwhelming strength. Your interactions will be minimal and unpredictable, a short, direct response to a message, days after she sent it. A brief, confident encounter in public where you are the one who ends the conversation and walks away. You will give her glimpses of the new man you have become, but you will never give her the whole picture. You are now a mystery she will be desperate to solve. The goal is no longer to be in her world. The goal is to make your world so compelling, so powerful, and so exclusive that she begs for an invitation. You will be an absence that carries weight, not a presence that begs. Power has shifted. You are no longer reacting to her emotional weather. You are the storm on the horizon, a force of nature she has no choice but to watch, to anticipate, and to respect. This is the beginning of your dominion. The transformation is now complete. The man you were, the one who sought validation in her gaze, the one whose emotional equilibrium was a fragile thing held in her hands, is a casualty of war, a ghost you no longer recognize. You did not heal him. You did not reform him. You executed him in a cold, silent coup of the soul and replaced him with a sovereign. Where he was a reactor, you are an actor. Where he was a question, you are a command. This is the final stage, the endgame where the fruits of your brutal discipline are harvested. And the harvest is not her affection. It is your own unassailable power. Let us return to the scene of your original execution. A crowded room, the same low hum of conversation, the same clinking of glasses. But the geometry of power has been irrevocably altered. You are not scanning the room for her. You are the gravitational center the room orbits around. You are not rehearsing opening lines. Your presence is the opening line. You are engaged in a conversation with a person of influence, your posture relaxed, your laughter controlled, your focus absolute. You are not trying to be seen. You are simply being. And it is in that state of pure, unadulterated self-possession that she sees you. Her eyes, which once slid over you as if you were part of the architecture, now lock on to. But there is no recognition of the man she knew. There is only confusion, followed by a dawning, terrifying intrigue. She sees the way others defer to you, the way a woman at your side hangs on your every word, the aura of purpose that radiates from you like heat. You are not the safe harbor anymore. You are the storm. She watches, and for the first time, she feels a pang of something she cannot name. It is the primal fear of having misjudged, of having discarded a diamond she mistook for a stone. Her will, that blind, insatiable force Schopenhauer described, which once deemed you irrelevant, now screams at her. It points at you, the object of power, the symbol of status, the embodiment of a world she is not a part of. And it says, that. I want that. She will make her approach. It is inevitable. Her ego cannot withstand the cognitive dissonance of your transformation. She needs to test it, to see if the old dynamic can be reasserted, to see if the reliable appliance is still somewhere beneath this new, formidable exterior. She will find a pretext to break into your circle, a casual, "Oh my God, is that you?" Her smile will be brighter than you remember, her interest more focused. She will ask you what you've been up to, where you've been. She is not asking for information. She is asking for the blueprint of your power, hoping to find a vulnerability, a crack she can exploit to regain control. And here, in this moment, you will deliver the final, killing blow. It will not be an insult. It will not be a dramatic rejection. It will be something far more cruel. A polite, detached, and fleeting acknowledgement. You will turn to her, your eyes will meet hers, and for a fraction of a second, you will look at her. Not through her, as she once did to you, but at her, with the mild curiosity one might give to a vaguely familiar face from a distant past. You will give a slight, controlled smile and say something utterly meaningless and dismissive, like, "Hope you're well," before turning your full attention back to the conversation that actually matters. You will not wait for her response. You will not linger. You will simply pivot, seamlessly and without effort, back to your world, leaving her standing on the outside. In that single, devastating moment, you teach her the ultimate lesson of power. You did not ignore her out of anger. Anger would have signaled that she still had an emotional effect on you. You acknowledged her existence and then dismissed it as irrelevant. You showed her that she no longer had the power to alter your emotional state, to command your attention, or even to occupy your time. You did not play the game to win. You simply demonstrated that you were no longer playing her game at all. The chessboard was not just flipped. You melted down the pieces and forged them into your crown. You left the game not because you lost, but because you outgrew it. This is emotional vengeance. It is not the hot, messy revenge of the weak, but the cold, clean, strategic victory of the strong. The greatest pain you can inflict on someone who once held power over you is to show them, unequivocally, that they no longer matter. That their presence or absence is of equal and total indifference to you. Her mind will be a whirlwind of self-doubt. What did I do? Why isn't he angry? Why doesn't he care? She will replay that moment of dismissal 1,000 times, each time feeling significance shrink. You have planted a seed of obsession in her mind, not by chasing her, but by demonstrating your absolute freedom from needing her. She is now the one left standing in the crowded room, invisible. This is the legacy of your silence and your discipline. Respect is never negotiated, it is commanded. It is not won through pleas, but imposed through absence. Power is not given. It is the territory you claim when you ruthlessly eliminate your own weaknesses. You did not change to win her back. That was always a goal for the man you killed. Changed because your own self-respect demanded it. Her renewed interest is merely a symptom of your power, a side effect of the cure, and you are immune to the disease of her validation. You have learned the great Schopenhauerian truth. You cannot make the will want what it does not want. You can become the thing the will cannot resist. Once you have, you will find you no longer want the thing that is now desperately trying to get you. If you are ready to stop begging for a seat at their table and start building your own kingdom, then the time for passive consumption is over. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion. Activate all notifications, because every video is a strategic briefing you cannot afford to miss. Press the like button as a final salute to the weak man you are leaving behind. And in the comments below, answer this with cold honesty. What is the one emotional dependency, the one person or hope you are addicted to, that you will cut off tonight to begin building your empire? This is not a question. It is your declaration of independence. You are not her second chance. You are her lesson.